Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in to this edition of the Indiana Zeitgeist Movement Chapter radio show. This is the official blog radio of the Indiana chapter of the Zeitgeist Movement, where we discuss local events, regional and global news, and keep our members informed up to the minute on the Zeitgeist Movement. Okay, maybe not up to the minute, but we try. This show is entitled, Put It Into Context. I will be talking about Mel, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Hey, thanks for calling in, Mel. I wanted to go ahead and get you on the air. I'll go ahead and continue with my little opening spiel here.
Go ahead.
The show is entitled, Put It Into Context. I will be talking about spreading awareness of important issues and how important it is to identify the context for discussion and to stay within that framework if you want to have productive results. In the audio, we heard a short clip from an unnamed psychologist and professor discussing a topic of eliminative materialism. And I thought that was a pretty interesting thing to start the show out with there. Not really necessarily relevant to the topic, though. For some regional and chapter Zeitgeist news, I'll start out with letting you guys know about the Peter Joseph radio broadcast. It was yesterday on Wednesday, like it is every week now. He spent the entire hour and a half responding to questions, and as usual, everybody should check that out in the archive. If they did not get to listen to that live, he is always coming up with the most relevant issues and the proper ways to address them. I also like to mention V-Radio's show. He does a good show, and his most recent show, he had a special guest, Jack Reed of the Community Planet Foundation. This is another program that everyone should be listening to regularly. That's why I like to mention it. The information you get from IZM Radio and V-Radio, and especially Peter Joseph's radio address, is invaluable info to have regarding the movement. For the international chapters and the United States chapters meetings are now taking place on about a weekly basis. Anyone who wants to find out what's going on around the country or around the world is welcome to attend these meetings. They are held via TeamSpeak 3, as are our own chapter meetings. So if there's anyone who is not using TeamSpeak 3, I encourage them to do so. If you're not, then you are missing out on a lot of things. USA chapter meetings are generally taking place on Mondays in the evening time, and depending on your time zone. And the international meetings are taking place on Wednesday following Peter's radio address. Indiana TeamSpeak 3 meeting news here. Alfred, our state coordinator, is not going to be holding any official type of meetings until we have more members joining us on TeamSpeak 3. It's kind of an unnecessary formality at this point that we will employ again in the future when those meetings become too large for informal conversations. Until then, you can still commonly find Alfred, his nickname is AH3, or myself, Wampler S, on TeamSpeak 3 at various random times throughout the week. And I'm going to be having official, quote, office hours that I will announce on the next radio broadcast. And that will be times that I will be on TeamSpeak 3 that you pretty much guarantee to find me there as long as the apocalypse is not taking place at the same time. Zeitgeist Day 2010. We are planning to organize a Z-Day 2010 event for the state of Indiana, hopefully 2 events in fact. But we need our members to become involved in this. Contact a coordinator, Alfred, Gordon, or myself, and volunteer your time to planning and organizing and advertising the event. Volunteer your resources to producing flyers and DVDs, please. the more productivity we get from our members, the better the results will be. Alfred is going to be issuing a IZM chapter guide for being involved with Z-Day planning. We expect this to be within the next week or two. It can be found on the chapter forums of our Indiana chapter website. That is, unless he also emails it out to everybody. So, to recap, Indiana Zeitgeist members, get involved. Come on, let's make a great impact on the state of Indiana with this event this year. The IZM Communications Team Strategy Meeting. This will be our first team meeting. Anyone who is interested in setting the strategy for the Indiana Chapter Communications Team needs to be a part of this sub-team. That'll be this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TeamSpeak. It'll be an informal gathering for anyone who wants to join this team. So come prepared to ask questions and be committed to accomplishing the goals that we will set forth for this team. And FYI, being in this meeting means that you will be a part of setting those goals. So be there or be square, folks. That's all I can say. This is a crucial first step for the communications team and for our chapter. We are pretty much going to be stuck on slow motion until you, our members, step up and contribute a little time and energy to organizing activism. Mel, thanks again for coming on the show today. I wanted to offer you a minute or two of the time here. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in Washington State.
Well, I'd like to say hi to everybody. Yeah, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I think there's a lot to talk about. In Washington, especially, we've got a lot of plans for Z-Day. What we want to do is, first of all, find several venues so we have backups. We're not sure how the weather's going to be in March, but we've got some outdoor venues we're looking into and one indoor venue that we fairly secured. So I think that we're well underway as far as finding a location, and we've got a presentation team that's actually putting together a presentation for the Z-Day events. We've got liaisons, a couple of liaisons that are going to be going to New York. They will also be at the Peter's presentation as well, and we're going to get live feeds from them and hook that into the WebEx format so that we can get everybody in all of the sub-chapters here, which is another issue that we can get into. But we're going to be doing the live feed from New York to here and from here to there. And we are just now beginning to round up the sub-chapters that want to do something simultaneously as well. So there's a lot of action going on here in Washington State. Very excited about it. There's a couple of things I want to tell you about later on as we speak a little bit more here. But yeah, there's a lot of interest growing now. I'm going to put you on mute here so that you can talk, because I got kids in the background. They can get noisy, and I don't want them interrupting you talking.
All right. Well, thanks again for having you on the air, Mel. And I guess we can get on the topic real quick here. So, on the topic, put it into context. For today's show, I'm going to be talking about putting things in context. There are multiple ways that this applies to communicating with people. But to start with, we've got to set the context for this topic. I guess that's quite appropriate because that is the topic, right? So the context in which I want to explore this topic is how we spread awareness through dialogue with others.